Fear doesn't always look like fear. Some fears don't make you run, they keep you from ever starting. Let's go. Social exclusion. You're added to a group chat. Everyone's reacting to messages, making plans. You send a message. Nobody responds. For 2 straight hours. Suddenly, your brain goes into full detective mode. Did I say something weird? Are they talking about me in another chat right now? Do they secretly hate me? Here's the thing. This feeling, it's ancient. Literally. Thousands of years ago, getting excluded from the tribe didn't just feel bad, it meant death. No group, no food, no protection. So your brain treats social exclusion like a survival threat, even today. Researchers once proved this with a virtual ball tossing game. Players were playing with 2 others online when suddenly the other 2 just stopped passing the ball to them. They weren't physically hurt, but brain scans showed the exact same regions lighting up as when someone feels physical pain. Being ignored in a group chat and getting punched in the face. To your brain, they feel the same. So, no, you're not too sensitive. Your brain is just doing what it's evolved to do. Comparison. You post something online, a photo, an idea, a small win, something you were actually kind of proud of. And then, within 10 seconds, your brain does this thing where it scrolls past 5 other people doing the same thing, but better. Suddenly, your kind of proud moment feels a lot less impressive. Psychologists have a name for this: upward social comparison. We naturally compare ourselves to people who seem to be doing better than us. Thousands of years ago, this mental check was a survival tool. It helped you figure out your place within a small tribe of 30 people. But now the tribe is gone. You are comparing your daily reality to a feed filled with thousands of people, and most of them are only showing their best 5 seconds, carefully edited, lit, and posted at the perfect angle. It's like comparing your raw, behind-the-scenes footage to everyone else's polished highlight reel. Of course it feels unfair, because it is. Close the app. Public speaking. You're next in line to speak, and out of nowhere, your heart starts racing, your palms get sweaty, and somehow your brain forgets everything you were about to say. Jerry Seinfeld once joked that at a funeral, most people would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy. Sounds ridiculous, but honestly, public speaking can feel that terrifying. So why does standing in front of a few people make your body react like you're in danger? Because your brain isn't always great at telling the difference between a real threat and a social one. A room full of people staring at you might seem harmless, but to your nervous system, it can feel like all eyes are locked onto you for a reason. So your body does what it's always done. It dumps a bunch of adrenaline into your system and gets you ready for action. Except, you're literally just standing there holding a PowerPoint clicker. The funny part is, your body reacts almost the exact same way when you're excited. Racing heart, sweaty palms, adrenaline. So next time your heart starts pounding right before you speak, don't think of it as fear. Think of it as applause before the performance begins. Looking dumb. You're in class, the teacher explains something, and a question pops into your head. You almost raise your hand, but then another thought shows up. What if this is obvious? So you stay quiet. A few minutes later, someone else asks the exact same question, and the teacher says, "That's a great question." At that point, you're just sitting there wondering why you didn't ask it yourself. What's strange is that this doesn't only happen in school. People do it at work, in meetings, even in normal conversations. Sometimes they'll spend 20 minutes pretending they understand something just to avoid asking a question that would take 10 seconds to answer. And I think that's what fear of looking dumb really is. It's not that we hate not knowing things. Nobody knows everything. It's that we don't want other people to see us not knowing. Which is a little backwards when you think about it. The whole point of learning something is that you don't know it yet. But somehow, the moment we get confused, we start acting like confusion is something we need to hide. The result is that we stay confused a lot longer than necessary, all because we were trying not to look confused for 10 seconds. Judgment. Fear of judgment is something almost everyone understands. Nobody likes feeling watched, criticized, or misunderstood. But here's something we often forget. We judge people too. Not because we're bad people, it's just something our brains naturally do. You see someone talking too much and you think they're annoying. You see someone being quiet and you think they're unfriendly. You see someone make a small mistake and for a moment you form an opinion about them. Then later, you realize you might not have seen the whole picture. And that's the part we forget when we're afraid of being judged. Other people are doing the same thing. They're not sitting there with a complete understanding of who you are. They're just reacting to a small moment they happen to see, a sentence you said, a mistake you made, or a side of you that appeared for a few seconds. So maybe the goal isn't to become someone nobody can judge, it's just to remember that everyone is trying to understand each other with incomplete information. Rejection. Fear of rejection is not just about hearing the word no. The hardest part is what that no makes you think about yourself. Imagine you want to try something. You want to share an idea, ask for an opportunity, or tell someone how you feel. But then you stop. Not because you know it will fail, but because you don't want an answer you might not like. As long as you never try, there is still a possibility that it could work out. Your idea could be good. They could accept you. Things could go the way you hoped. But rejection removes that uncertainty. It forces you to face a possibility you were trying to avoid. Maybe the outcome won't be what you wanted. Maybe the world won't see you the way you see yourself. And that's why people sometimes avoid trying at all. Not because they don't care, but because staying in their imagination is easier than facing a reality they can't control. But here's the thing. If you never try, you'll never know. Rejection hurts, but wondering what if can hurt too. So maybe the choice isn't between pain and no pain. It's choosing between the pain of trying and the pain of never finding out. Conflict. You're at a restaurant, wrong order shows up. Instead of saying anything, you just eat it. Because sending it back means an awkward look from the waiter, maybe your whole table staring at you. So you sit there, quietly eating a salad in silence. That's fear of conflict, and it shows up everywhere. Agreeing to plans you secretly hate, saying it's fine when it's not, texting no worries while replaying the whole thing for 3 days. Here's the interesting part. People who avoid conflict aren't passive. Somewhere along the way, their brain learned conflict equals danger. Maybe an argument as a kid felt huge and scary, so it got filed under avoid at all costs. But avoiding small conflicts doesn't make them disappear. They quietly pile up until something tiny, like a salad, becomes the last straw. Sometimes saying, actually, this isn't what I ordered, is the easiest problem you'll solve all day. Talking to strangers. We're taught from childhood, don't talk to strangers. And honestly, that lesson stuck a little too well. If you're someone who gets quiet around new faces, you know the drill. You step into an elevator and you go silent, avoiding eye contact like the person next to you is Medusa. But here's the twist. Researchers at the University of Chicago ran an experiment where they asked people to chat with a stranger on a train. Before doing it, almost everyone predicted it would feel awkward and uncomfortable. Afterward, nearly everyone said they actually enjoyed it. There's even a name for this: pluralistic ignorance. Everyone assumes everyone else wants to be left alone, so nobody says a word, even though most people honestly wouldn't mind a little conversation. So that stranger you're too nervous to talk to, there's a decent chance they're sitting there hoping someone, anyone, will say something first. Be that someone. Embarrassment. You walk into a room. You trip. People laugh. But give it 5 minutes, they've completely forgotten about it. But you're replaying it in slow motion for the next 3 days. Did they see that? They definitely saw that. Are they still laughing about it right now? No, they're not. They've already moved on with their lives. Psychologists call this the spotlight effect. We tend to feel like there's a giant spotlight on us all the time. Researchers once tested this by having a student wear an incredibly embarrassing t-shirt into a crowded room. The student was convinced at least half the room noticed it. The actual number? Less than 20%. Why? Because everyone else is too busy starring in their own mental movie, worrying about their own hair, their own outfit, their own awkward moments. Your brain treats you like the main character. But to everyone else, you're just another background character in their story. So if you're stuck in a 3 a.m. replay session, just remember, you're the only audience member left in the theater. Everyone else went home hours ago. Go to sleep. And that's all for this video. Maybe you saw yourself in one of these fears. Maybe more than one. The good news is, fear can be unlearned. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.